Hey guys, so it's been a couple of weeks. It's actually been 3 weeks since the last episode, and I do apologize for that. And the main reason for that has simply put that I have been sick for the last half a month of October. I was pretty much sick. Throat sore to the point for about a week there, my voice completely disappeared. I literally hurt talking and just took the opportunity that I realized that I was taking on too much. I was trying to do too much. And so I needed to take a break and reassess and just, it's one of those things when content creating that a lot of content creators feel that if you take a break, you lose your momentum. And I've been doing this since, 1996, 1997, before it was even considered content creating. And I have taken numerous breaks. Hell, I have taken breaks longer than a week to 2 months, 2 years. I've taken quite a few breaks, and a lot of it, especially this last break that I took, which probably lasted about 2 weeks because I still had content that was coming out. But once the content that I'd already had scheduled, ready to go, was up, I wasn't actively creating anything new because, one, I couldn't really do anything with my voice, and I just needed a mental break, guys. I needed to figure things out. And one of the things, and I think that was really draining me, was my environment. And when I say environment, I don't really mean like the people that I was around, just my overall home environment. So you might be wondering, what have I been up to? Like, what did I do? Well, one of the biggest things that have been really bothering me lately was my house. And unfortunately, other than the videos that I have put out on TikTok and you guys have watched on the main channel, if you watch the reactions or toy videos, you've seen shots and backgrounds of my place and unboxing videos and stuff like that. And I had to reassess kind of like where I was at, and I was like, just one day I wasn't feeling good and I was sitting down at my computer, which, to paint you a picture, I had a couch that was kind of broken and not, I always hurt my back when I sat on it, and I got rid of that couch. It was a hand-me-down, so I'd had it for probably 4 years, and I got rid of it. And so I had this big giant empty space in my living room, and I was always spending all my time in my bedroom because that's where my computer desk was set up. And I felt like I was just underutilizing my living room, so I literally turned my living room into the studio. Moved everything into the computer, all that stuff. And, a lot of the videos that I have done since probably late March, early April has been, that setup. So what I ended up doing is I really needed, I'd gotten to the point where my refrigerator, I had figures covered up on it. My kitchen cabinets, I have this space on top that was completely full of stuff, and I needed to do some house cleaning. And what's really crazy is that about 90% of my Chug figures, for those who don't know what Chug means, I mean Transformer figures from Hasbro that you can buy at Walmart, Targets, stuff like that, I packed up. And not that I packed up, and a good chunk of my Marvel Legends as well. And not packed up because I don't want to display them. It's because I don't have a proper display. I don't have the space to display them properly. And so yeah, that's what I kind of did over the last 2 weeks. I've been kind of just slowly chipping away and using AI, kind of mapping out my house and getting ideas and going on Pinterest and looking at things like that. And what I wanted to do was to make my house feel like a house and not feel like a it just my house was starting to feel so clunky that you could have argued that, oh, that's if I taken a picture of my living room / kitchen, you'd be like, oh my god, it looks like an episode of Hoarders, because any nook and cranny that I could display something, I displayed it. And it was crazy how I was going about doing everything. So I literally reworked my living room and my bedroom, and I have posted. I changed my personal Facebook into kind of a creator account as well. I usually use my personal Facebook now as a more of hey, this is me, what I'm doing, versus what I post on MajinPlanet, which is more creative work kind of stuff. But yeah, I reworked my entire living room and bedroom. I rebuilt my collection wall, which I used to have in the back of my videos, and I reworked what is there, and essentially, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because I do have a video that I'm going to actually film probably later this afternoon or something. I'm not sure when I'm going to record it, but it's going to come out later this week on the main channel of like my first ever official room tour, house tour, I guess you could say. And I don't, just to kind of talk about where I'm going and where the content's going to be going into 2026, because that was another thing that I really needed to rework is like where do I stand when it comes to the kind of content I want to create, how often I want to put it out, and stuff like that. So I am also going to start live streaming. Funny, I don't really know what I'll be live streaming, either showing off toys, doing gaming, or whatnot. I haven't figured that part out yet. I got everything else, in terms of the hardware that I need, software, it's always a work in progress. And despite the fact that I haven't legit live streamed probably now since early 2024, I think might have been the last time I live streamed. It's been about almost 2 years now since I've live streamed, that I still have been actively working on my stream setup, like, trying to figure this out, but I'm just, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. And the thing that I realized is that it doesn't have to be perfect because it's never going to be perfect in my eyes. So it's just one of those things like I need to just start going live. And if one person watches, two people watches, I will grow and things will evolve as things go. So it's a work in progress. Now, I wanted to talk about this 3 weeks ago when it happened, and now it's pretty much like, a little bit of drama. Not really so much like any kind of drama or beef between me or any creator like that, but it was something that happened that in the moment it made me very angry. But now that I've had some time to kind of look at it from a perspective, and I'm kind of wondering to myself, was I an asshole for how I handled it and for what I said? I still stand by what I said, but let's kind of rewind and let's go ahead and go back, and we're gonna take a look at, and we're gonna look at like where we're at with this kind of like thing. This is the major thing that happened to me over the like 3 weeks ago has happened to me. So before I kind of got sick, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to network again. I'm gonna try to spend at least an hour a day, like on social media, like on TikTok, on Instagram, on like YouTube, whatever, and try to find, I don't want to say like larger, I don't want to say like smaller creators because that seems kind of weird, but just kind of find like, I would say more like creators that I feel like we're at the same level that I feel like I am, even though I have been doing this for such a long time, and there are people out there, I've had people come up to me and say, why aren't you like bigger than you are? And my response to those people when they ask me how come I don't have more followers, how come I don't have more subscribers, it's because I take breaks. It's because I probably every single time I reach that point of plateau where you go, okay, just one more video, just one more social media post, and boom, you're going to explode, I take a break. And sometimes, like I said earlier, sometimes those breaks are a couple of weeks, a couple of days, sometimes they're years. And the way algorithms work, you have to keep feeding the system. And if you don't keep feeding the system forgets about you. And as a result of that, people that were following you no longer see your content. And I can attest to that. There are people that I legitimately would love to watch their videos, and unless I go directly to their channel on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, I don't see their stuff. If I just don't interact with their video or content right when I first see it, the algorithm thinks I'm not interested anymore, and then so it no longer shows it to me, even though I might be following or subscribed to those people. That's just how the system, that is how the engine works, and it's not designed with a person's mental health, especially if you're a solo creator. If you're somebody who's like part of a team, like say like Mr. Beast, or like just name any random live streamer or content creator who basically all they have to do is go live or just say or just record their stuff, and someone else does all the other work for them, like editing their social media, etc., etc. Some of that I feel like for me, if I had somebody who could do the editing for me, if somebody could help me write the scripts better, someone could just do my thumbnails, and if I say, hey, I have an idea for my live stream, or I have an idea for this, and they could just make it happen, and then I just have it, I'd probably be less stressed. But then there's a whole different, I understand there's a whole another level of stress and drama and stuff like that that comes with that. So I was kind of looking for people that were kind of on the same mindset as me, and just kind of like, and I wasn't looking to just like leech off of them, like, oh, hey, that's cool. Hey, I make content too. Come check out my content. No, I almost never mention that I make content with anybody. I don't mention it at all. I just don't. It's just, I think the reason I don't is because I don't want to come across as like, that's all I'm there for. And you see my username and you go, oh, that's a weird username. And it's just like kind of like just leads into my content. It's not very difficult. But let's go ahead and get into the story about one of these particular people that I was attempting to somewhat, I want to say I was really networking with them. It was just more like a potential somebody that could maybe down the road network with. Because like what I'll do is like I'll start following somebody and watching their content, and like I'll give it like a month or two, and then if I feel like, oh, you know what, I really vibe with this person really seems like somebody that I could really like see myself doing collab with, or even bouncing ideas off with, and maybe become like an online friend or something like that in the space, then I reach out to them and stuff like that. But almost never gets that point, because then I like, especially when it comes to the women, like, like age comes into account, because I don't want to come across as creepy, because, as of recording this episode, it's currently my birthday, 43 years old now, and when I'm like following a creator and they happen to be female, and then I find out, oh, they're like 18, 19, I usually just walk away, and, or like, I start looking like, oh my God, they have an OF account, and I'm just like, yep, not interested. So I move on. But anyways, I've been getting a lot more VTubers on my feed lately. I'm not really sure how that happened, but anyways, so I came across this VTuber who had, I'm going to try to keep a lot of like details, like their name, how many followers they had at the time. I honestly don't remember, and what their VTuber like model looked like and stuff like that, just for privacy reasons, because I'm telling this story not necessarily to cause any drama for myself or that particular person, because as far as I'm concerned, the matter is over. It's been 3 weeks and there's been nothing of it. And I haven't, like, we'll get to that. But basically, I came across this person on my TikTok feed, and there was like, okay, it's a VTuber, I was like, oh, and then I was searching for something, and they came back up again, and I was like, oh, that was actually pretty informational. And then, like, I looked into, their feed, like, went to their page, and then I was like, okay, I'll give them a follow. And then I was like, oh, they have, like, a link tree. And I was like, oh, they have a TikTok, account with their Twitter. And then they had, like a Twitch account. And then they had Instagram, and I was like, oh, and I checked out. And it was like, they were moderately small across the board, nothing. I mean, when I first saw their account, they were under 1,000, like, subscribers across the board. And then it was like 2 days later when I had noticed that they were live on TikTok, or sorry, not TikTok, on Twitch. And I realized, I was like, man, they grew up really fast. Like, now they were over like 1,000. They were like 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers. They were getting pretty high up there. And then they were like, I don't even remember, but I significantly noticed massive growth from their TikTok page from when I first started following. So I went to their Twitch, and I was taken back by how polished everything was. Like, to their panels, their VTuber model was very polished. Like, their rigging was extremely good. The way they had their page set up was very, 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 very polished. Like, if you had told me in that moment what I'm going to tell you here pretty soon, I wouldn't have believed you. But anyways, so I was like, okay. So I started watching their stream and like interacting with their chat. So, talking about, because they were bringing up World of Warcraft, and they weren't playing WoW. I don't even know what game they were playing, but they brought up WoW. So of course I'm always interested in finding new people to play WoW and stuff like that, and yada yada yada. And I was like, the question came about something, and I was just like, oh, I know the answer to that, so I just put it in their chat, like, oh yeah, you can just fix that by doing this. And then the topic came up about, they like, that they've done a lot of research into like everything, and they continue to do research on how to be better and stuff like that. I was like, okay, this is a person, like they had a content strategy. They're like, oh yeah, I have a content strategy, stuff like that, and everything like that. And they were talking about like how they, they didn't spend a whole lot of money on their model and stuff like that. It was a free model. I think they said it was a free model or something like that, but they did want to pay for some customization. So they were really trying to get, like, hopefully they were so close already to getting Twitch affiliate, which was, from what I understood, they said they'd only been doing this now for about 3 or 4 days, and they were just amazed on how the growth was, and they just knew they needed to stream 1 or 2 more times, because this was a Monday, and they said they normally don't stream on a Monday, but they just went on a whim to stream on Monday because they were so close to affiliate. I was like, cool. I think it's awesome. And, there was like 20 people in this chat, mind you. There was like 20 people watching this person. It wasn't like thousands of people watching. It was like maybe like the view count. I do vaguely remember the view count saying 20, and there was probably like 5 or 10 people chatting. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like you couldn't keep up. And she was doing a very good job of answering everybody's questions and stuff like that. So they seemed like they were very like legit, honest person. And I was like, okay, I have some extra money that I usually was, waste on stupid stuff. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'll give them a boost. And so I gifted 5 subs. And like, and then, they also had just hit their first hype train. And so so I wanted to add to the hype train, really. So that was the reason why that was the one of the many reasons why I gave them gifted sub. And then of course I had subbed with my Twitch free sub that you get every month or whatever. So that's about as far as I go when it comes to subbing to people on Twitch, but so anyways, yeah, the vibe was a very good vibe and everything like that. And like I brought up before when I talked about like, like promotions and stuff like that, like I didn't at all say like, oh, I'm a content creator too. I was like, oh yeah, I've done I just kind of mentioned like, because I brought up some technical stuff, and I was like, yeah, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And I think I mentioned like 25 plus years, or 26 plus years, something like that. And they're like, oh, that's crazy. Wow. And people are like, wow, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, and I was like, I mentioned that I take lots of breaks and stuff like that. So even though I've been actively thinking about it in my mind and doing stuff that entire time, I necessarily haven't actually put out the content, if that makes any sense, so, and I'm like, my username is, MajinPlanet. So it's not like it's one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, check out my stuff. People will see my name, they go to my page, and then they can find everything through that, right? So anyways, and I had to work Monday night. So, I go to bed and I wake up. I usually always wake up like at 6:30 p.m. and, I kind of browse my socials to see if there's anything I need to respond to or whatever. And I happened to see that they posted a video, or they retweeted a video tweet on their page. And I kind of looked at it, but I didn't really get the chance to really look at it. But I did read something on it, and that they had to come clean and everything like that. And so, long story short, well, this may not be a long short story, but basically, this person, that turns out when they talked about doing research, I don't even know how to go. So basically, this person who I found through TikTok, who had a very small following but was rapidly growing, had just started their account 3 or 4 days ago. And they'd already hit partner or hit affiliate on Twitch. They were so close on TikTok, but because their TikTok account was so new, it wasn't like, they still thought they were like a spam account or something like that. And like they're having kind of issues on their Instagram and then like Twitter as well, because their accounts were so new and they were growing so rapidly fast. Turns out that this person is not a new VTuber. So basically this person was an already established VTuber in the space with 20 some plus thousand followers on Twitter. And that it had taken them roughly, they said in the video, using their VTuber model that they currently are. So basically, the VTuber, this person, has been a VTuber for, I think they said like 5 years. They've been in the space, but they've been creating content online for over 15. And it had taken them about that amount of time to reach the 20K followers and to grow. Like, they're also a partner on Twitch. Now, there's a difference between being a partner on Twitch and being affiliate on Twitch. There's not too much of a difference today, But 5 or 10 years ago, it was a huge difference because there was a difference in like the cut you could get. And sometimes you actually got contracts when you got partnered on Twitch, which you were guaranteed money as long as you streamed X amount of hours, and then, so when you had a contract, they were paying you, hey, you got to stream like 200 hours a month. So all you got to do is stream 200 hours a month and you get paid like whatever, 6-7 grand. You're guaranteed that money. So the subscribers and like the bits and the ad revenue that you get on your stream, that's extra. That's like a tip. So it's different. But anyways, this person revealed they weren't a small VTuber, and that they created a new page, a new VTuber model. They created a new character, a new VTuber model, whatever, and created all new social media accounts, not linked, I quotation that, not linked to their main account. They did not mention it on their main account that, hey, they're starting a new venture, a new personality or whatever. And the reasoning they did this was because they wanted to know what it felt like to be an unknown person in the space again. And just somewhere, like, they basically were they wanted to basically go hide on the internet, but still do what they love to do. Like, that would be like, like you're Ninja, or you're Asmongold, and you're like, oh, hey, I want to, continue making content, but I don't want all the publicity and all the eyes on me, but I just want to go do it in the space over here where I'm an unknown and I maybe have like 4 or 5 people to chill with versus having hundreds of thousands of people chilling with me, and they felt bad now because this new page, this new VTuber that they had created within a short amount of time, 3 to 4 days, had blown up faster than their primary account had ever done. And they just didn't feel like they were being genuine in lying to people because the question came up. It's like, oh, I'm a new VTuber. The reason why everything is so good is because I've been doing a lot of research. No, the fact that you are new is not real. Like, they made the point out to say that like I remember like when they were streaming on their new page, they streamed like 2 hours or so, and then they're like, oh yeah, they're gonna end their stream because they got to go walk their dog or something, and they had to go do some IRL stuff. Okay, cool, have a great day. And they got off, and then like I didn't think nothing of it. But then now that I knew that they had an actual page that had a following and they had to be making some kind of income from. And so I actually went to their Twitch account and looked at, they had went live yesterday on that account too. And I looked at the times and I compared the times, and within like hours of them saying, or within like less than an hour that they said they had to go on their new account, they went live on their primary account. So this person has been making videos for 15 years. Well, I was saying making videos, but making content for 15 years, 5 years in the space as a VTuber, had grown to 20,000 followers on Twitter, and had grown significantly on Twitch, and I think they might have had a YouTube channel as well, and had Instagram probably, and I think they might have had a TikTok too that had a decent, large following, and they had a small community, but they needed a space they could go to be unknown. But because they created that new space, they grew too fast, and now they felt guilty. Now, let's just be honest here when it comes to VTubers. I can tell you there are 2 very big reasons why this particular VTuber grew as quickly as they did. And we're talking DOA, jiggle physics here. Like now I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I did not follow this person because of this fact, but I was interested in the fact that they had that. I was like, do they understand, like, even though it is a VTuber and it's not it's a character, but like, it was ridiculous. The physics were ridiculous. And with how they rigged it and all that stuff, and how much it was moving. And so I wanted to see if other people would going to be like, whatever they call it, simping or whatever over this person. And I didn't really see that, because their TikTok content they made was legitimately good. But of course it was good because they have been doing it for 15 years. That would be like, you're doing something for 15 years and you're successful at it, but you're not that successful at it. And so then you go and you create something new, but you don't put your name on it, and it becomes more successful than the thing you've been doing for a long time. And people are like, this is amazing. And then you find out like years later that that thing that was really awesome was made by this other person, you know? And you're like, what the heck, right? So anyways, they made their video and they felt sorry and that they deceived people. And she even went as far as saying that if people that had donated money. Now, mind you, I had started watching her stream within an hour of her streaming. And I don't know how many people had subscribed or gifted her subs before I did, but she had made the point out that if anybody wanted their, like, any of the people that had donated or subscribe or whatever, like, given her money on her new account, wanted a refund, to reach out to her, and she would give them their money back if they felt they had been deceived because she wasn't actually a new creator. She was an established creator, and that she had made the decision because this new account had grown so large already and was going to on a trajectory to be probably bigger in a shorter amount of time than her main account, that she decided to run them both at the same time and kind of intertwine them together. Now, it's been 3 weeks. I literally made a comment and I said, I understand your point of view, but the fact that you deceive people and the fact that you went out of your way to lie to people and pretend like you were a new person in the space when you weren't a new person, and you had all this knowledge. So to new people coming in, they go, wow, you're so good. You're going to look amazing as a new person in the space if you have the experience already. That's like having experience in a job for a long time, and then you go somewhere new. That's the same job, but the people there don't know you've been doing this job for a long time, and you don't tell people that you've been doing this job for a long time and that you're very proficient at it, and you come in and you're just instantly good at it. People are going to think you're a prodigy, that you're, oh my God, you're so good at this. Like, wow, you're so natural at this. You're like, yeah, you know, it just comes natural to me. No, you worked really hard to get there, and coming in and pretending like that, it just seemed very dishonest to me. And I was just like, I said, once you, I was like, you cannot erase 15 years of experience. Like, you cannot try to be new at something you already had 15 years experience at. That's kind of what I could probably pull up the tweet, but I think I in turn, like, I think a couple of days after that, I think I ended up blocking that person. So I kept getting recommended all their content since I had watched it. So I had to go through and I just blocked her on everything and blocked her big account as well. Because I just felt it was not genuine and everything like that. It just, I don't know. I don't know, guys. You guys let me know if you guys think if I was wrong, that maybe I should have been more supportive. But it just seemed very selfish to me. Because here's the thing. There's a lot of creators out there. It doesn't matter what space you're in. It doesn't matter if you're in a gaming space, you're in the just chatting space, you know, you're in toy content, like, you know, to do reviews and stuff like that, or if you are in product reviews, or if you're in, you know, like just chatting, like, or like reacting based content, and you are struggling to get 10 views per video. You're struggling to get 100 views per video. You know, you're trying so desperately for days on end to get 1,000 subscribers on TikTok so you can go live on TikTok. You're struggling to get exposure on your Twitch so that you can get affiliated and get ads and whatever, and get paid to do what you're trying to do, because you're doing all of this because you wanted to make it your job. You want to replace your job. And a lot of these people doing this are doing it, they're not going to make it, because the people that make it are people that are doing it. If they would not, most of them probably not so much now, but when they first started, they were doing it because they loved it. They weren't doing it because they wanted to get a paycheck out of it. They weren't doing it because they hoped that it would replace the crappy 9-to-5 job they had. There are a lot of creators out there that have 30, 40,000 subscribers. Some out there that have 100,000 subscribers that still have full-time jobs. And YouTube is a hobby. And they probably make an extra $4,000 or $5,000, $10,000 per month from YouTube and or YouTube and Twitch or TikTok, whatever. And it's helping them supplement their income, but they're not trying to push it where it's like becomes a full-time business for them. Because not every content creator is also a very savvy business owner. It's just how it is. And so a lot of these creators, a lot of these people that start streaming and stuff like that, they go into it because they think they can make a lot of money because of people like Shroud, Ninja, But I can tell you that when they probably, Mr. Beast too, but they did it because they loved what they were doing. They loved YouTube. They loved content creating. I mean, it didn't matter if they made any money from it. I mean, that'd be cool. It's cool to make some money out of it because it helps whatever. But I mean, I don't make any money from my content creating. I've made some money here and there, but it's never been like, oh, I'm not going to make this video or I'm not going to do this content because I'm not making any money of it. When there's content that I have stopped doing over the years, not because it didn't make me any money, but because nobody wanted it. Like, I stopped doing certain podcasts, I stopped doing certain video themes and video ideas that I attempted, but nobody watched them, and I got feedback from people saying that they weren't interested. So if you don't want to see something, if people don't want to see something, I'm not gonna keep doing it. Because I personally do stuff because I want people to see it. And if people see it and then go, oh, I don't want that, well, then I'm not gonna do it anymore. Whether or not I make any money from it or not. One of the reason why I haven't gone live on Twitch now for a long time, because before you only got money, you only got subscriptions on Twitch if you were affiliated. And I actually went in, and this was like 2 years ago, and I unenrolled myself from the partner program I have 2 accounts, and I unenrolled myself on the one, and then I decided to go to my other one, which is a smaller page, doesn't even have 100 followers. I was like, I'll just stream on that page because I'm not streaming to try to make money. I don't want people to subscribe or send me bits. But unfortunately, Twitch has now made that streamlined. Like, you have a Twitch page, and within whatever time now you have on my Twitch account is not affiliated, and I don't even have payment set up on it where they can even pay me, and I have a sub button on there, and people can send bits, and I don't want that. I set the bits to a ridiculous high amount because I don't want people paying me for content that I get for free. Now, granted, yeah, I do have Patreon. I did reset up Patreon and everything like that, but you can still get the content for free. If you want to get a little extra, then you can pay for it. But I don't even bring it up in any videos. I don't say, hey, go check out Patreon. It's just there if you want it. People say, hey, do you have a Patreon? Yeah, I have a Patreon. But you don't have to join it. You can get this content for free. Just head over to MajinPlanet.com. You can get most of this content for free. There is some content that I cannot give out without payment, and that's why it has a payroll. Otherwise, but the same content is available within the format that I can't offer for free. So yeah, that was my little drama spill, whatever you want to call it. But let's see. I did see Black Phone 2 last week. Yeah, I saw Black Phone 2 last 2 weeks ago. And it was okay. I think I gave it a 6 out of 10. If you follow me on Instagram, my Instagram story, I usually when I see a movie every week or every other week, when I do see a movie, I will post on there I'll put a poster with some music and I'll give my rating. That's kind of as far as I go usually. But yeah, I did see Black Phone 2. It was fine. I eventually did later watch Black Phone, which was okay. It was fine. We went and saw Back to the Future, and the original in theaters is playing in theaters for the 40th anniversary. I think it'd be the 40th anniversary. Because I think it came out in 1984. Yeah, I think it came out in 1984 or 1985 when the movie came out. And of course, I was probably too young. I was probably 3 or 4 when that movie came out. So I know for sure I saw Back to the Future Part 2 at the drive-in. And for sure I saw the third one. And I don't know if they ever re-released the first one in theaters at some point. I saw it, but I don't remember. But yeah, I did watch it, and it was cool seeing it on the big screen and stuff like that. And so they had a cool poster, which unfortunately the poster is long, so I have to go find a poster frame. I have to measure it, see what the frame is, and then go get a poster frame for it so I can put it up. So there's that. I feel like there's another movie that I saw too since the last time, but nothing's coming to mind, unfortunately. And it just tells you some of the movies that have... Oh, I probably should have mentioned this last episode, which has now been 3 weeks ago. I did watch all of Wednesday season 2, and it was fine. I was to say I liked season 1 better, I feel like season 1 flowed a little better, where season 2 was kind of clunky, and there were some things that happened. Not no spoilers, but some things happened that I just kind of shook my head, going, I don't like that. I don't like that they did that. Yeah, and then of course I'm caught up on My Hero Academia season 8. I just watched episode 5, I believe. And I was a little annoyed because I was watching it on Hulu, and for some reason the subtitles were missing. There was parts where there was no subtitle, and I was like, what the hell? So I'm hoping that I'll have to go back and try watching it again, see if the subs are added, or wait for the dub, because I think they're also dubbing it like a week behind or 2 weeks behind the episode release. The dubs are coming out. So I'm probably going to go back and see where they're at with the dubs and just watch the dubs. Since when I did start watching My Hero Academia originally, I watched the English dub version. So I'll probably go back and watch season 8, or probably go back and watch season 7, because I think I didn't even watch it in sub. I watched the whole thing in sub. I never went back and rewatched it. So I'll probably end up having to do that. Yeah, let's see what else. I don't know why, but my friends and a couple of my coworkers were talking about the regular show, and so yesterday I started watching that regular show again. So it was kind of ridiculous. I was rewatching that. I don't know how far I got, but I was like, man, I remember this show. I was watching it on Hulu, so I think I might have finished season 1. I might have, but they're short episodes. They're like 20-minute episodes. They're not very long. But yeah, I've been kind of doing that. I'm looking forward to Stranger Things coming out, and I think I might have mentioned this before, but I got into this kick where I wanted to watch Unbreakable, and unfortunately, Unbreakable, I said it was available on Netflix, and then I was like, okay, so then I got Netflix, but I just was going to do the $7 one, and then it was like, oh, it's not available at this price point. Okay, cool. So I got to upgrade. So I upgraded to the $17 one, and then it still wasn't available. I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I was like, oh my God, it's not available in this country. I was like, I'm not paying for a VPN. I'm not doing that. So then I ended up watching it. I think I ended up paying for it. I think I ended up buying it on Fandango, or aka Vudu. And then I watched, I think the second one was on Netflix, I think. And then, which is why I watched Wednesday and stuff like that, because I have Netflix. I have Netflix until the end of this month, end of November. So I'll probably end up, hopefully Stranger Things comes out before that. I'll be able to watch it. And there might be a couple other things I might just kind of like watch on there. I've been kind of like watching Supernatural for like the 17th time. Just kind of going back and it's just playing in the background as I'm doing stuff. As I was cleaning the house and doing all that stuff, it was kind of playing in the background. Yeah, that's kind of it, guys. There's nothing really more. I did finally complete Devastator, so that was cool. I finally found Scavenger. I did Scavenger at Walmart, which was cool. And then, of course, I have seen him now 3 times at Walmart since then, so I don't know why I was so worried. I was like, yeah, I was starting to get a little worried there. I'm off this week, so I've been taking some time to kind of do some content, which is why you guys are, listening to this, because I recorded it. And then I'm also going through my Magic collection. I'm doing it in stages. So, I bought one of those card sorters and one of those card readers, where you just kind of slide the card in with your phone on top and you can scan the card. It seems like it's been working really well. Yeah, I did. I'm going through the folders first. I have a whole bunch of folders. And kind of what I'm going to do is kind of build, like, this is my collection. Like, these are the cards I'm just never going to trade or sell or, whatever. This is just the collection. And I haven't figured out how I want to sort it yet, because I don't want to do what I did last time where I put it all in folders. And then halfway through the process, like, I don't like this. And so then it's like, I'll sleeve everything. So I haven't figured out how I want to do it yet. I think I kind of have an idea of doing it through phases. Like, phase 1 will be like alpha, beta, unlimited, like kind of like the old border cards, like probably until Invasion. So probably like the first like 10 or so years of cards, and then Mirrodin, I'll probably like after the Invasion block, maybe I'll go from like when it's the old card borders, and then when they change the borders, as it'll be that'll be the new folders, like the modern, because there's a lot of older cards that I care about, but there's a lot of newer cards not so much. So it's because I haven't been playing or actively or anything like that for years. So there's that. I did start playing Madden, so that's kind of an interesting thing. I've been starting playing Madden on my PS5. Get some use out of my PS5 since I haven't touched it in months. I haven't touched my Switch in years. Like 2 years now. It's crazy. For those of you who may not know, I have been subscribe to the Fan Home Mark III, and then I also paid for the subscription for the Lich King one that just came out. I almost canceled the subscription, but I'm a little annoyed because you have to call them. I don't want to talk to anybody. So it's a little annoying. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how much I paid so far for this Iron Man thing. And I did the speed up version. So like they sent me more parts. And right now I have 2 boxes. I have 2 months worth of stuff to go through. And I kind of got through half of I think September's box. I got halfway through it this morning. And then I got 2 months of the Lich King one, which thankfully they're like only like 2 or 3 pieces, so it's not too bad. But the Iron Man one's like 15 pieces, so it's kind of a challenge to go through. And as I was building the base for this thing, I realized that where I wanted to put it isn't going to work, so that sucks. So now I have to figure out where I'm going to put this thing, because it's not going to go where I thought it was going to go. It might end up just being a centerpiece on my kitchen counter until I move and find my own place. Find a home, a new house. That's the goal for 2026. Is I'll be moving. I want to move to my own house, my own place, which will have a lot more room and a lot more freedom for stuff. So I did get Missing Link. I did get both Missing Link RC, and I do have the cartoon colors right now. I haven't opened it yet, and I do have the toy deco coming, along with 2 Tron figures that I ordered because they were on clearance. And I was like, I just kind of represent them for my backdrop for like my childhood shelf, because I did watch Tron once when I was a kid, and I always thought it was cool, but like, because I played the video game, I always thought it was cool, but I was like, they just never came out with any media for it, so, but I always thought the concept of going into a computer world was always cool to me. And like, funny thing is, I never watched Tron Legacy when it came out, because I think at that point I was kind of like, whatever. And then I liked Ares, and then I went back and rewatched, after Ares, I went back and watched Legacy, and Legacy was pretty good. So kind of sad that I never watched that in theaters when it first came out. So that's my bad. But Ares, yeah, I did watch Tron Ares, so there's that. I did get Blades from X Transbots, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be the Transform. I have an idea for a video for that. I'm going to talk about it in a future video, probably. I don't want to say this week or next week. It might be out already before this comes out. I don't know yet. I got Blast Off, finally got shipped, so probably in the month when I get Blast Off, and I'll finally have my Bruticus finished, so that'll be cool. I did get another figure for my Gojuger, and it's kind of a spoiler, because now I'm like, oh, they did find a way for them all to combine together-ish, but I haven't watched in like a month. So I'm like probably 6 episodes behind now. It's kind of sad. But I fell behind on watching everything, like just all Sentai and Rider. I just fell behind watching all of it. So even Ultraman, I haven't watched any. Omega, Zeets, I think it's how it's pronounced, Zeets. Or I haven't watched anything. I haven't really watched anything like that, because it's like, oh, if I'm going to watch it, I have to record it. And I just haven't been in a mood to record. Plus the house was in a disaster too, so but now it's not a mess anymore, so we'll see, guys. But yeah, if you guys would like to submit any questions or feedback, you can do so by emailing me at webmaster@MajinPlanet.com if you're interested, and sending me some questions, feedback, or just anything. I'll read it on the air on the next episode whenever I get it. And thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode of the Majin Cast, episode 8. And hope you guys enjoyed, and apologize for 3-week delay. I will try to go back to keeping these weekly, but no promises. My voice still kind of hurts. There's been a lot of coughing in this episode, so hopefully I can edit all those out, and you guys have a decent listening experience. So until next time, guys.